So a few days ago, I was chilling like I do on any other Wednesday, when I got a message from my friend. Pobbin, I am now a League of Legends player. Now I immediately blocked him as I didn't want to be in the presence of such filth, but I ended up messaging him to try and save him. As it turns out, he wasn't actually a League player, but was playing the newly released Switch game, Pokémon Unite. And just like League, it was free. And now that I've played it for a sum total of 10 hours, I think I can write an entire rundown of how to play the game. Before you can even get into a match though, you need to set up any items you may be using, and there are two kinds available. First, you have battle items. Battle items are usable items that can be activated during a match, and once used, go on a cooldown. For instance, we have the potion, which heals some of your health when activated and has a cooldown of 30 seconds. There are also more battle-related battle items, such as X Attack, which raises your attack and special attack for a short time and has a cooldown of 40 seconds. You're only able to have one battle item per match, but they are very useful, so make sure to choose the one that's best suited for your Pokemon. To be honest, editor me here, I forgot to talk about passive items. You have 3 of them and they just give you buffs at all times for different things. Some Pokemon better than others, and you can upgrade them to make their buffs more effective. I'm so good at this. Speaking of Pokemon, there are currently 20 playable in the game. Each Pokemon is entirely unique, with different moves and abilities, but there are a couple of roles that every Pokemon has that gives them a more defined playstyle. For instance, we have all-rounders, one of which is Garchomp. Garchomp, like most all-rounders, is very good with teammates. He is a close-range fighter, meaning that when paired with a longer-range Pokemon, especially that of a defender class, he excels. However, by himself, Garchomp cannot last very long in fights unless the enemy is also alone. This is basically the same thing for every all-rounder, and pairing them with their opposite fighting type, that being ranged or melee, results in them being able to do really well. Then, we have attackers, one of which is Venusaur. Venusaur is very good at head-to-head combat. However, just like all attackers, he doesn't have high survivability and can struggle to finish off players sometimes. This means that he should be paired with some sort of speedster or support Pokemon to help finish off opponents or support him in any battles. As their polar opposites, we have defenders, my favorite one being Crustle. Crustle is very good at not dying. This means he is well paired with all-rounders and attackers, as he, and all other defenders, can act as distractions or defense for your team's goal, while your teammates can score or kill enemies. Coming in real fast though, we have speedsters, one of whom is Absol. Absol is, as the role name implies, very fast. With this, she can get around wherever she needs, making her a good support Pokemon with high damage. She's also good at 1v1 fights, being able to use her high speed and mobility to outplay the opponent. Speedsters are good for gathering points and buffs during the early game, but once leaving the jungle, they are good with attackers to help finish off weak enemies, or good with big groups of teammates to do the same. Finally, we have supporters, with my true main, Jigglypuff. Ignore evolution. Wigglytuff is just obese. Jigglypuff is very odd. They aren't very good at a lot, but seem to be able to help out teammates, especially in fights. Despite not being a direct supporter by healing, Jigglypuff is able to help her teammates. Supporters are definitely the weirdest Pokemon in this game, as it could mean many things. Overall though, they are paired best with all-rounders and attackers, but can really be with anyone. So, now that you know about items and Pokemon roles, are we able to play? No! First, we need to go over the map we'll be playing on, so we can understand what we're going to actually do in the match. Looking at the map, we have 3 different lanes to go through. The top and bottom lanes both serve as the main battlefields. They're both split down the middle of the map, and each team has 2 goals on the top and the bottom. There are also plenty of wild Pokemon to kill and tall grass to hide in. The only key difference between the top and bottom lanes is that the top can spawn Rotom and the bottom can spawn Dreadnoughts, which I will discuss later. Both of these lanes lead directly to the enemy base and final goal. Then we have the middle lane. This is basically the jungle from League, not that I play League because that would be terrible. This area serves as a great place to kill wild Pokemon and sneak around. It's littered with different wild Pokemon and even some special Pokemon that can grant you buffs. It's filled with tall grass and even has jump pads to jump to the middle quickly. At the center of the map in the middle lane, Zapdos can spawn, similarly to Rotom and Dreadnoughts. If you weave your way through the middle lane, you will arrive at the enemy's base and final goal. There are also other maps for things like Quick Play, but they are basically the same thing with less goals, and I don't care enough to go over them right now. But now that you've learned the map, you can finally get into the match and have some wholesome Pokemon fun. once it loads. After you get into a match, you must choose your Pokemon, and you can also change any items or look at your Pokemon's abilities. Also, you can select what lane you'll be going to at the beginning of the match to help coordinate with your team. For a quick rundown on lane composition, if you have one of each class on your team, like a balanced team should, send the speedster to mid and split the other 4 in half, whatever way you see fit. Generally support with offense and all-arounder with defender. For right now though, I'll be covering running top or bottom lane, and we'll cover mid later. Once the match has started, you get right into things. things. You start as a little level 1 baby Pokemon, unless you're playing as a stage 1 weirdo like Snorlax. To level up your Mon, you need to kill wild Pokemon, which are just NPC Pokemon found everywhere on the map. For the beginning of the match, this means going down whatever lane you set up in the pregame and killing the wild Pokemon along the way. This is usually enough to get you and your teammate to level 3, giving you your basic attacks. Once you reach the middle of the lane, you need to stay alert though. There will be slightly higher level wild Pokemon in the area, but more importantly, the enemy team will be there. Before engaging with them though, you and your teammate should try and kill some nearby high level wild Pokemon to get an evolution and or move upgrades. At this point, it's going to be a back and forth between you and the enemies. Both of you will be trying to score on one another, and I feel like I need to explain scoring and goals now. Your goals are basically your bases because of the buffs that they give. When in your territory behind your goals on the top and bottom lanes, you get a speed boost, and within your goals, you get healing. This means that when fighting, you should retreat to your goal when necessary, especially since behind your first goal, there's healing fruits that spawn. As for scoring, the first goal on each side has 80 life, and the next one has 100. The final goal is for scoring an infinite amount of extra points. It's also worth mentioning, you can't score past the frontmost goal until it's destroyed. But how do you score? Well, remember those wild Pokemon you slaughtered for being in your path? Well, they all had numbers above their heads that represent the amount of points that they're worth. Once you kill one, the finishing blow to be exact, you'll get that many points added to your character. The only way to score these is to go to the enemy's goal and dunk by holding X. The more points you have, the longer it takes to score, so make sure you get rid of your points often since you can sneak in a goal even when being attacked at low points. Or you should try and kill everyone before trying to score with lots of points. Keep in mind that when you die, you'll lose some of your points, so you can't hold on to them forever. And as a last note, when killing enemies, they will drop some of their points upon death, so make sure to grab them. But now that you understand scoring, how the heck do you kill the enemy so you can score? Well, each player has a basic attack and 2 special attacks with a cooldown, along with one powerful Unite move. Your basic attack is a 3-part move where the first 2 hits are the same, and the third one is a different, usually more powerful blow. For special moves though, they can vary from character to character, so I won't explain any, but they can be utility moves, assist moves, or just flat out murder moves. Then, for Unite moves, these are super special moves that are just really good. While leveling up, you get to choose what special moves you want after the first time you unlock them, so make sure to figure out what works best for you. With these moves though, you will be wanting to kill the enemy team. You and your teammates should work together on this though. For early game especially, this means the 2 or more of you walking partly into enemy lines to see the enemy camping in their base and backing off. During this stage of the game especially, you should be backing off from fights and grinding more. Occasionally, if you are close to an enemy, send a shot their way, and if they wish to fight, make sure that they approach you. This is because if you're fighting in your base, then they are slowed and you get healing from your goals. Just remember that this doesn't make you invincible. This also means though that you shouldn't approach them. However, you'll both end up meeting in the middle due to random chance or a group of wild Pokemon spawning and both teams wanting points. I can't really explain how to fight since many characters are different, but make sure to use your moves only when you can actually hit the enemy, and make sure to aim for weaker players and combo your moves together. Aside from that, make sure to retreat if you need to/can. Hopefully though, you or a teammate can get past or kill the enemy and get a dunk. You will do this back and forth, and eventually a team will destroy the other's goal. This makes it substantially easy to push the losing team further back. But there are some other things you can do to make it easier for your team. One available to both lanes is another teammate coming to help. Most likely the speedster in the middle who will be a higher level. But a little into the match, the top and bottom lane will spawn a boss Pokemon. Starting with the boring bottom path, we have Dreadnoughts. Dreadnoughts is a giant annoying turtle that has too much health and drops 20 points. When he's killed, everyone on your team gets a shield that reduces damage for a little while. This means that it'll be easier to push ahead and you'll have plenty of points to turn in. On the top though, we have the best orange electric boy, Rotom. Unlike stupid ass Dreadnoughts, Rotom isn't impossible to kill, and doesn't kill you in half a second either. And once you kill him, not only do you get 20 points, but he begins to go to the enemy's goal. If you're able to defend him from the enemy team, he will score 20 points on their goal, and for a short time allow you to instantly cap any number of points on that goal. This means a lot of the time, if your team is doing good on the bottom, someone should go and help the top kill Rotom. Also, I find it worth noting that for these boss Pokemon and any wild Pokemon, you can just steal the kill by getting the last hit, and it'll give the buffs to your team, which is just stupid. Aside from that, however, the top and bottom are near identical, and you'll be doing the same thing on both sides. Hopefully though, with enough patience and skill, your team will be able to get enough points on the enemy's goal to destroy it. Once a goal is destroyed, a few things happen. This pushes back the team's base, as I called it, meaning that the team will no longer get a speed boost where their goal was, and the healing aura of the goal and healing fruits are gone. This of course makes it easier to push and kill the enemy, but it also makes it easier for the enemy to defend their next goal since it's closer to their spawn and has a longer path to it. This is especially prominent because at the 5-minute mark, a jump pad spawns at each team's spawn. This jump pad can be used to jump to the top, bottom, or middle lanes. Most importantly though, it can jump directly to the second goal on each side, meaning that it is much harder to take the second goal as the enemy team can jump to it whenever they respawn. Additionally, anyone can teleport back to their base by pressing down on the D-pad, and after a short bit will be back, allowing them to jump pad to the goal and cut anyone off. This means that a lot of the time, some team members may want to go help attack on the opposite lane that they've scored on, and as long as someone stays behind to defend the other goal, it can be helpful. For the most part, however, the game will continue at the pace it was going before. The only change being that whichever team succeeded in destroying the first goal will be more defensive, and whichever team got their goals destroyed will be more aggressive. This is how the game usually stays till the end, but before reaching that, I need to talk about going down the middle lane. At the beginning of the match, it's the same as top and bottom lanes, except you immediately fight more powerful wild Pokemon. The difference is that the bigger ones, similarly to boss Pokemon like Dreadnoughts, give you a buff. Ludicolo makes you deal more damage to weak wild Pokemon, and Buffalant makes your attacks slow enemy players down. This means that when playing the middle lane, you should get lots of XP, points, and buffs. This allows you to become very powerful much faster than the rest of your team, and once you have gotten buffed, you should go help whatever end of your team needs it. Unlike the top or bottom lanes though, I wouldn't recommend repeatedly going to this lane after dying and respawning. You should definitely be there at the start of the match and go in there to get a few points and buffs during the rest of the match, but your team is going to need your help, meaning the middle lane is mostly there for you, or anyone for that matter, to get buffed up or get some points in XP, when the other wild Pokemon have not respawned yet. There is one thing that should make lots of people go to the middle though: Zapdos. Zapdos is the final boss Pokemon left to talk about, aside from quick match maps, but I don't care. At the 2-minute mark, Zapdos will spawn in the middle lane of the map, and will cause a huge mid-fight 9 out of 10 times. This is because not only is Zapdos worth 30 points, but when defeated, all the enemy's goals become defenseless. This, just like when Rotom reaches the enemy goal, means that every single goal is able to be scored on instantly for a short time, meaning it's easy to score on the enemy. This means that whenever Zapdos spawns, he becomes the entire focus of the match. This also means that whoever does not go to help can sneak some points on the enemy's goal. However, this means that some enemies may try the same thing, so you may want to have some people stay behind to defend. Generally though, most everyone goes to mid and tries to kill Zapdos. The best strategy for this is to kill the enemy, then kill Zapdos, because as I said, it's only the final hit that counts, which makes it trivially easy to steal the kill with one powerful move. I mean, I've done this several times before, and it's so stupid. So make sure to murder everyone before actually killing Zapdos. Now that I've covered all of that though, we can get back to the game, and see how one usually ends. So let's say each team has destroyed a goal on the top and bottom lanes. This just leaves the secondary goals and the final goal left. During this time, as I said, teams are going to be more defensive, but you still need to score points. This is why wild Pokemon, like Zapdos and Rotom, are crucial in this stage of the game. They allow you to easily score even if you don't kill the enemy team, since you just need to get past them to score. This means that some people should stay behind for defense and notify the team when being attacked, TP back to help, and have some people attempting to sneak around, get buffs, and score on the enemy. But this is when shit hits the fan, because at the 2-minute mark, it's the final stretch, which aside from inducing stress to the losing team, also doubles all points. All of them! I love comeback mechanics, yay! But yeah, all points are doubled for the rest of the match, and the wild Pokemon even drop more points than before. This means that basically any team is able to demolish the other team's goal with ease if they kill Zapdos or Rotom and get extra points from wild Pokemon. This makes this part of the game very stressful, as one mistake could result in a loss. However, you can also cause the same stress to the enemy team by scoring. Regardless, the game continues to be a back and forth of fighting and scoring until the end of the match is reached. I find it important to say now that for some reason, you can't see the scores at any time, and only occasionally get notified if your team is winning, losing, and if it's by a lot or by a little. But that's a rundown on how an average match should go. Usually, matches don't go like this. Most of the time, one team will clearly be winning by the time it's the final stretch, and they either continue to crush the team, or the losing team pulls a Smash Brothers and abuses comeback mechanics. This makes the game somewhat frustrating, especially when combined with its very campy gameplay and unfair punishments for small mistakes. These issues can cause the game to be rather stressful. This is especially prominent when your teammates, especially randoms, aren't good and don't help the team. It's especially stupid when in a match, you get 4 attackers on your team. Like, what the fuck? The game is still fun overall, but most certainly, me and many of my friends have gotten upset over it more and more than other games. There are plenty of other things to cover, but the script is getting a little long, and the other things are mostly secondary, like quick matches or cosmetics. Overall, the game is pretty fun as long as you're in it for a competitive experience. Speaking of competitive, it's like the normal matches, but losing feels worse. As I was saying though, from what I've played, it's pretty good. I think they need to balance some characters and change some mechanics, but overall, it works pretty well, and I hope they continue adding content. That's it for today's video though. If you guys want me to make another video on this game, most likely a character guide, then comment down below and subscribe. Until next time though, I don't know, touch some grass or something, just don't play League of Legends.